hunter, badass, slightly cowboy, African adventure, anything kind of within that, like Indiana Jones, Ernest Hemingway spirit, and you're writing a short story like that, even if you're not published, dude, drop a message in the comments. Let us know. Welcome back to the Men's Adventure Fiction Podcast. You're here with your hosts, L.S. Goodish and Nathaniel Hummel. We are back for another week of adventure, dude. It doesn't get better than that. Little action, too. Maybe there'll be some action.
Who knows?
Yeah, dude. The podcast, we're having a good time. Luke and I were talking once again the other day. We're here to talk men's adventure fiction. We're not here to get people watching this. I mean, it's nice that you're watching, but we're here to just talk about this stuff. He literally said, he's like, yeah, if nobody was watching, I'd still get on a video call with you every week. We were just, right. I think that was this morning, right?
It was. And it's like everyone we're meeting, all these wonderful people, all these great friends. It's like you guys are all just like we are lucky that these are added on benefits, but the thing is going to happen whether this show is a thing or not. We are going to meet once a week to be like, did you watch Spencer Dutton, dude? What do you think?
Exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna do that anyway, regardless, because this is just what we do. So it's always an honor and a blast to be with you talking.
I agree.
Genre we love so much.
So much. That's very cool, very exciting. But yeah, dude, tell them what we're talking about today. Let them know.
Yeah, what we're talking about is essentially any and everything. Honestly, we're gonna just kind of chat around the subject of men's adventure fiction, exactly what you're here for. But the kind of reason, for us meeting and talking about it this time is my book just came out, Fire in the Tall Grass. Yeah, Noah Redford, Fire in the Tall Grass is like my most men's adventure fiction book to date, for sure. Like, this is my ode to classic adventure, high adventure, set post World War I in Africa, treasure hunt, big game hunts, boxing, anything you could really want in a men's adventure fiction story. I kind of try to cram it in there and give you a little something for everybody, and it's super fast paced. It's like about 126 pages or so of just crisp, clean action, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So we're not going to sit here and just be like, no Redford, my book, no Redford, but I just wanted to mention it is out now, and you can get your paperback or Kindle version.
Yeah, and I certainly want to say, I could probably spend the next 45 minutes talking about how sick this book is. But Luke pitched it. He said it's 127 pages of crisp, clean action. Don't let that make you think that this book doesn't have much story to it. This book has heart to it. It's got the action punch and the heart punch, dude. They're good old 1-2. Incredible book. It hits all of the classic, I don't want to say tropes, because it isn't like a predictable book at all, I wouldn't say. It changes things up. There's plot twists, but it does have all of the things that you want to see from action adventure, from men's adventure fiction, from kind of a classic pulp novel, dude. So well written, so well done. Noah Redford, he's in the top 10. He's earned his place, top 10 favorite characters of all time for me.
So sick.
And he will soon be in your top 10. So check that book out. Really fun book. Really enjoyable. I can't wait to see what Noah Redford gets up to next time. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago. At time of recording, unfortunately, we have not been able to see the 1923. We're like a day or two early. But if Luke always loves to talk about peanut butter and jelly, dude. Spencer Dutton and Noah Redford are peanut butter and jelly, dude. They go perfectly together. If you are watching 1923, and I don't even know how many episodes they've given you, but you're just hankering for some more men's adventure fiction, some more cool, a guy from Montana who's out there being a badass, doing adventures, pick up Noah Redford, dude. He's gonna answer the question you have for why aren't there more guys like this? There are. It's Noah Redford. So yeah, that's I've waxed eloquent enough, but I could
appreciate
wax
it.
even more eloquent.
I
Don't tempt me.
appreciate
Don't
it.
tempt me.
Because I mean that it's funny you say that because I think we've talked about this before, but it was after watching 1923 and being like, do we need more of that? Like, where can I find that? And then going on the internet and being disappointed when they point to a movie from like the 80s, and you're like, dude, come on. I know, understand Indiana Jones is amazing. I've seen it though,
Yeah.
and Mummy, amazing. I've seen it though. Like, if I'm looking for someone like Spencer Dutton, there's not a whole lot of new options. So I was like, I'm just gonna write that. This is before I met you, by the way. I didn't know Nate Cole existed, so that's my fault. That's my fault.
Oh no,
So
you're
there
good,
are
dude.
there are more people out there doing adventure stories, and as we've made the Discord and I met more connections, I realized there's more out there than I realized. But that's what's cool about this. All coming together with the podcast. Like we said, we just talked about this, love it. But then we're meeting people who are writing in this genre, who are inspired by the same type of stories, who are like, I
Yeah.
want more of that. And we're just constantly just feeding each other the stuff we need. I'm like, I'm hankering for a good adventure. Give me a Nate Colt, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
So I love that. And yeah, I start the book opens, if you get the paperback or the ebook, it opens with the essay that's on my website about classic heroism and why it matters.
Hell yeah.
Because this is a book, for the first time in any book I've ever written, this is the one you could give to a kid, I think, like
Yeah.
around 12, maybe younger, 10 to 14, like that age could love this book just as much. I hope they do, and I hope they get like some good lessons about what it means to be a good man, because it was as important to me to put the action in there as the lessons for life, and not in like some preachy over dramatic way, but just showing a man of action I think matters, and that's kind of a through line through the novel if you read it.
Right, and a man of integrity as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, go check that book out if you have any interest, and if not, watch Yellowstone 1923 and enjoy that for what it is. I'm personally
sure.
excited for that. What's been on your mind, men's adventure fiction wise, this week, sir? Has it been 1923, just kind of anticipation and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's definitely been on the foreground of my mind, especially because this morning you posted in the Men's Adventure Fiction Discord a video of Brandon Sklenar.
Dude, Sklenar,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Sklenar. That's how it's said. He literally, at the end of the video, he said it, and I was like, dude, I got to lock this in. Immediately forgot. Sklenar, Brandon Sklenar, he talks about it, and the video literally opens with him saying, like, yeah, he's kind of an amalgamation of all of the masculine characters I love from the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s,
Yep.
all those movies. It's like, dude, this guy knows he's playing one of the
I know.
GOAT characters, dude. This character is so sick. So I think that seeing the man behind Spencer acknowledge that and kind of give praise to what's come before in this genre really made me like the character even more and made me like Brandon that much better, because that's so cool that he is cognizant of that. Like my first thought is like, oh, he might be phoning it in, or he's gonna get this role and then kind of like ditch his roots, which you and I were talking about that a little bit. So I think it's nice to know that he's like, and he said in that interview, like, this is a role that I knew whoever got this character, it was going to take them places, because no young male actor gets a role like this really
Right.
ever. And I was lucky enough to get it. And that's so cool to hear. Like, that's sick. That's what I want to hear from Spencer Dutton.
Yeah, he's a truly masculine character in that vein of like classic masculinity that your grandfather watched on TV. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy that
Yeah.
like you said, that character doesn't come around a whole lot.
Right.
And he is in true form that character. And to your point, it's good that they're mentioning and acknowledging that, because we love when things wear their influences on their sleeves and they're not embarrassed of it. They're not hiding the fact that they're pulp or that they're classically like masculine or traditionally with traditional heroism or anything.
Yeah.
So that does make it a little bit better.
Dude, are you wearing the Spencer Dutton watch right now?
Oh yeah, dude. Because this morning my watch exploded off my arm. I broke a watch. So I was like playing with my kid, and I was kind of like doing like the slamming my hands down like I was some kind of like monster, like like a
As
monkey
one
or
does.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so like I do the pound on the ground, and the one I've been wearing with like the blue face, it went pagoosh and just popped off, and so I'm like, I gotta get that fixed. But in the meantime, I was like, Spencer Dutton's coming back around, so let's get the
Dude,
Spency on.
that's perfect. That's
But it
perfect.
needs a new battery, so it's been stuck at 9:15 for the whole day. So I got to get a new battery in this one anyway. It's my watch situation's a nightmare right
I
now.
know, what a fiasco. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail what you were saying, but it's perfect. You're perfectly on brand for Spencer Dutton,
I guess so.
which is
I guess
sick.
so.
And I wanted to sound off one last thing about that, to kind of circle back to Fire in the Tall Grasses. Like you said, you wrote that book because you wanted more stuff like that. So if you're listening to this right now and you also love this kind of character, kind of like an archetype of hunter, badass, slightly cowboy, African adventure, anything kind of within that, like Indiana Jones, Ernest Hemingway spirit, and you're writing a short story like that, even if you're not published, dude, drop a message in the comments. Let us know. Jump in the Discord. Send it into the writer section because we love this type of story. And like Luke just said, like Brandon Sklenar himself said, this character doesn't come around all that often. So if we can get more of that we can read, that's what it's all about, dude.
We need it. We need
And
it.
another thing that I was just thinking about, dude, can you imagine the conversations between Brandon and Harrison Ford with
Dude.
him playing a character who is so, I mean, he's not really like that similar to Indiana Jones, but he is a paragon of men's adventure fiction, you know? Like
Right.
they have to have talked about it, right?
I'm imagining. I hope so, at least. I'm gonna imagine in my head canon that they've had like some passing of the torch conversations here, because
Yeah,
I
dude.
need that. I need
I
that.
know.
And on like Harrison Ford's will, when he sadly passes, he's going to be the only person to take over the Indiana Jones franchise is Brandon Sklenar, and then they're going to finally give us like a
Yes.
reboot of
I
Indy
know,
with
dude.
Brandon. That'd be kind of sick.
It's
I
so
would take
funny
it.
that you say that because I was literally thinking that. I was like, dude, is this the way that we finally get a
A
young
new
Indiana
Indy.
Jones
Yeah,
again?
dude.
Like, is this because
That'd be sick.
especially it would be so sick. The chances are so low though.
Yeah, let's not
But
get our hopes up.
if anyone could do it, it would be him because especially having the relationship with Harrison Ford that he does, oh,
Yeah.
man, that would be incredible.
I'm just excited to see. Hopefully, maybe we'll have to wait until season 3. Who knows what there is season 3? But like, I want to see scenes of Spencer and Harrison Ford together. Like, please. I just want
Yeah,
to see
that would be
Brandon
cool.
and his characters interacting. Please, give
I
me
know.
that.
Yeah, that
But
would
dude,
be very interesting.
speaking of men's adventure fiction, a little bit off topic here for Brandon Sklenar and Spencer Dutton and stuff. But you've been rewatching Mission Impossible, right?
I have been.
How's that been going? Are you still on one, or where
Yeah,
are you at?
we just finished one.
Okay.
This was inspired in part by just had a baby, so the window of opportunity to watch stuff has significantly decreased.
Yeah, yeah.
We pretty much can only watch TV from like 2:30 to 3:30 on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday because that's when I'm off work, and then like 9 to 10:30 at night every night if we're
Right,
lucky
right.
because as soon as the baby's out, my wife's going to bed. Um, so I was like, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning comes out in 2.5 months, something like that.
That's
Maybe
wild how
maybe
close
it's
it's
almost
getting.
exactly 3 months. It's May 23rd,
Dang, dude.
so very close. And I was like, we got 7 movies. That's what they keep saying in all the promos. You got to go back to the beginning to see where the end's going to be. So it really
Right.
seems like Final Reckoning may actually be final. So, I mean, I've watched all these movies countless times at this point, but you got to start. You got to watch 1 through 7 for when 8 comes around to see this Final Reckoning, see if it makes sense, see what callbacks they do.
What struck you then from this rewatch of the first one? Like, what stuck out to you?
In the
Anything?
trailer, one of the big plot points is the knife. It's like some sort of out the front switchblade, I believe, and
Okay.
it's what the guy, I can't remember what his name is. I think it's like Jean something. He's Leon the professional. I can't remember
Yeah.
what that dude's name is. He's a really
I can
famous
picture
actor.
him. Yeah.
Everyone can picture him or imagine him in your head right now, but I can't remember his name. He plays a character, and he's like famous for his knife. And there's a sequence when he does the whole like going into the thing and he's balancing on the high wire. When he pulls up, the knife falls out of the vent and slams into the table. That knife is back in Final Reckoning in the trailer.
Dude, the knife gets a cameo, huh?
Knife gets a cameo. Ethan holds it up and looks at it. So that's interesting. I don't know if you're paying attention to Mission Impossible's Instagram and what they're posting. It looks like there's big hints of cast members coming back from the first one. So
Nice, dude.
you have no idea. I have no idea what to look for. What I did really like about it, and that's been low on my list of movies, like out of my favorites of them. But watching it this time, I was not looking forward to it. And I started watching it. I was like, wow, this is actually so good.
Right.
And it really does set the precedence for so many of the things. I mean, the whole movie starts with him. He knows something's wrong. His whole entire agency thinks that something else is wrong. And he realizes the only person who can figure this out is himself. And to do that, he has to steal the knock list, which I think, to my understanding, I wasn't paying a ton of attention in the early stages of the movie. It's basically like the list of everyone who's undercover or something along those lines.
Okay.
Maybe not everyone who's undercover, but it's just a super important list that can't get into enemy hands. And so to get to the bottom of who the bad guy is and save the day, he has to steal that to give to the other bad guys to get the main bad guy. And it's like, dude, I didn't even really process that in like the 6 times I've watched this movie. That's what happens in almost every movie going forward, is like Ethan's the only one who can figure it out, and he has to do something absolutely insane to save the day that like goes against everybody else who's in charge. They're like, no, you can't do that. And he's like, sorry, I've got to. It's literally the only
That's
option.
the only way, man.
So it was cool seeing a young Tom Cruise kind of start to find the character in that one, and then to watch it from a place of having seen all of them so many times and see like,
Right.
oh, dude, they really were so faithful to the character, so faithful to the situations that he finds himself in, and it was really enjoyable.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm excited for you to watch this newest one, and I get like the full Nathaniel like retrospective on the series now, because you'll be locked in. You're like the expert in this.
If it ends, I'm just gonna cry.
Yeah, if they do the old No Time to Die on you, dude. Just
Dude,
break
if
the
that
screen.
happens, I'm gonna lose my mind. Yeah, but we'll see. I'm very excited to see that.
There's something with deep fakes in this new stuff, right? That's like a part of it.
I'm not
AI
sure.
deep fakes.
So, in an interview that I read, Christopher McQuarrie, who's the director, was like, you know how in Mission Impossible 7 there's flashbacks to 1989 when Ethan first gets his posting. Basically, Ethan was an art thief of some kind or some sort of high concept criminal, and he got faced with them being like, all right, you can go to jail or you can use your skills for good.
Right.
All of that happened in 1989, and Christopher McQuarrie said that they had really wanted to do de-aging. They wanted to de-age Tom Cruise for that, but he watched all of the content that has de-aging in it, and he was watching, and he said, as I watched it, I either was thinking, wow, that's really good, or wow, that's really bad, and I completely lost track of the story. So he and Tom decided that they were not going to do that.
Okay.
But he said, then we finally figured it out. So will we bring it back for 8? Possibly. Who knows? I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. So that's all that I've heard about that. I haven't done much research on it recently. That came out a couple months ago.
I just remember in the newest one, right? There's like AI is the bad guy.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
in some sense.
Sure.
The reason I brought it up is like Scream 7 is getting a lot of news right now, and they said it's going to involve a lot of like deep fakes and stuff like that, and so that means you can bring back characters that have been dead and stuff in this series. So I wonder if
that's crazy.
I wonder if Dead Reckoning will do the same type of thing where they could bring back any character that died ever, because it'll be deep faked.
From in canon, like in the story,
canon, in the film,
Dude,
it would be a
that's
deep fake.
crazy.
It would be AI maneuvering and like making videos of people and making them do
that
stuff.
would be nuts.
Because it sounds like what they're going to do in Scream 7, is have like old killers be messing with people via
Fake, yeah,
videos
deepfakes
and stuff, deepfakes and stuff.
Dude, that'll be
So,
nuts.
We'll see. There's a lot of ways that this new Mission Impossible could go, and
Yeah.
there's one way we know it's going to go, and that's high-octane action and adventure, because that plane scene alone in the trailer, dude.
I know, worth the price of admission.
I gotta see that. Yeah, they're like, dude, no better stunts than Tom Cruise movies,
Yeah.
and I guess obviously no better stunts than Mission Impossible movies, right? Like, of his movies, you could say Top Gun's sick, but like the stunts weren't as sick as
Yeah.
what he's doing in Mission Impossible.
Right.
But it
Like
is.
they
yeah,
they
it's
may have been
top-notch.
technically harder to some degrees, but you don't really feel that as much because it's just a plane, you know. Like
Right,
you're
it's
not.
like you're not seeing the human Tom Cruise dude
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
jump off the thing with the motorcycle. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. Crazy
Nice.
stuff. Sorry, I misunderstood you about the deepfake stuff. Thanks for
you're good.
thanks for working
You're
with me there. Yeah, I agree. I think the plane stuff looks really cool. The whatever happens for him to go from wearing a dive suit to somehow being in like a pair of shorts and having to get out of a submarine and dive with just the shorts on. It looks like that's a sequence. How's that going to happen? There's so many. The trailer is so good at giving you pieces that just to make you like, how do we get from here to here? I need to figure this out. I got to go see it to figure it out. So I think that's very successful for them to do that.
I know this is something we talked about I think it was off the podcast. It wasn't on the podcast, but you know how, adaptations and novelizations used to be pretty big. Like, we need Mission Impossible novels for
Yeah,
one, and two,
cool.
somehow get you that contract, because I feel like you love
Thanks,
the character
man.
so much, you know the character, and you write in this genre. It'd be so sick to see you like get to write novels again. So if
That would be
anybody
very
out there
cool.
has any strings to pull, please do that for Nathaniel, because I think that'd be too sick.
Thanks, dude. And speaking of novels to adaptations, another big deal is Reacher season 3 just came
Yeah.
out.
Did
I've
they drop like 3 episodes or something? I
They
heard?
did. They
Okay.
dropped 3 episodes. Back to what I was saying about not having much time to watch stuff. I have not seen them yet. But this one is, I don't remember what it's called. I can't remember any of the Reacher names because I listened to
Never Go Back, right?
Yeah, that's probably what it is. That sounds right.
Maybe.
This one is my favorite book though, and really cool series. He just infiltrates some sort of crime thing, and goes to Maine, and
And the bad guy's absolutely huge.
bad guy is absolutely huge, dude. I think his name is Paulie. Crazy, because Reacher is. I mean, you can go back to the episode we did with Knight where we talked about fittest action hero. I think Reacher's like 6'5", 250, so bigger than that, dude.
Tank.
To make Reacher look small, you got to be like 7 feet, 300.
I think he is 7 feet,
50
right?
pounds, dude. That's crazy.
He might be actually 7 feet. I mean, yeah, to get someone to out beefcake the beefcake, it's kind of absurd thing to do.
I know, dude.
That's funny.
That's
So
nuts.
I hope it's good. I haven't really watched much Reacher. I've got like kind of deep, maybe half deep into the first season.
Yeah.
But I haven't
Yeah,
finished it because I'm bad at shows in general. It's nothing
Yeah.
against Reacher. I'm just not very good at shows.
They're really good. The second season, I think I liked a little less, but it introduced an ensemble cast.
Okay.
So that was
Feels like his
interesting.
old team or something, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
my dad's really into that show, so I've heard a lot. And feel
Yeah,
like
it's
I
a good
watched it.
show. It we'll probably end up doing a Reacher episode here sooner or later. So
Yeah.
we'll talk about the books and the shows and maybe
Yeah.
even the movies, dude.
Dude, the movies are good. I really like
Movies
those
are
movies.
are really fun. I think it's one of the classic situations where it's like, why didn't you just make a different character? I think is what a lot of people
Yeah.
kind of have on their mind, but it's like you can't necessarily like if you get to the heart of the character, I feel like is more important than matching the height and weight perfectly. Because I mean, if you want to get nitty gritty, Alan Richson's only 6'2", so
Right.
he's 3 inches short, you know. But he's definitely a big guy, and it's easier to shoot him as a big guy than it is to shoot Tom Cruise as a big guy. So I think that's
Yeah, especially I think probably extra pissed people off because Jack Reacher is supposed to be like, the big guy, and Tom Cruise is constantly made fun of for being the small guy. So it's
the
like,
little guy.
yeah, so it's like that's such a weird thing that you did there.
But I agree that those movies are really good.
Very good. If
Really,
you haven't
really
seen
fun
them,
movies.
or you like, just kind of dismiss them, give them a shot. They're actually sick.
Right. And if you're a huge Reacher book guy, just detach your mind for 2 hours and watch the movies because they're they're still fairly true to the character in a lot of regards. I mean, he's still a good detective. He still figures stuff out. He still is ready to punch first and ask questions later. So they're fun movies. I like them.
Awesome. Yeah, dude. So we got Reacher. We got
I
1923.
know, dude.
February's Beefcake. Just month, I guess.
Yeah.
Because is there something else I'm missing in February?
Not in
Something
February,
else
but
coming up?
the biggest thing after that that I'm most excited for. Um, well, obviously, I'm super excited for Mission Impossible, and that's probably #1 on my radar. But in March, Daredevil comes back, which is
Right.
pretty sick
With the Punisher, hopefully.
with the Punisher.
I mean, he's at least in some part of it,
I know,
which is fantastic.
and
Accountant 2 in April,
I know.
right?
That's what I was gonna say.
Crazy.
Speaking of John Bernthal, dude,
So much
Bernthal,
stuff happening.
such a great actor. He's
Yeah.
very underutilized, I feel like, and he is used in a lot of stuff. But I mean, he's just
Yeah.
top of the line, dude. I keep wishing. I know he was in Wind River, which is a Taylor Sheridan thing.
Yeah, don't mention that.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
His character gets not the best treatment.
Yeah, not at all. But I keep hoping that means that maybe there's a Taylor Sheridan show coming down the pipeline with Bernthal headlining it.
I mean, Taylor Sheridan has so many shows out that there's only a finite amount of humans on the planet, so everyone should get to star in one, including you and me at some point, including
Yeah,
everyone
of
watching
course.
this. Every human being out there is going to get their own. So just give it time, and we will see John Bernthal saddle up for one of these
Yeah,
trillions of Taylor Sheridan shows.
that'll be really sick.
That would be.
To circle back, you asked me what I've been doing, like reading, watching, stuff like that. I've also really been enjoying Tarzan, dude. Last
Yes,
week,
you have, dude.
I think
Yes, you have.
we talked about Legends of the Fall, and I wildly enough pitched Tarzan as something to check out because of the similarities to that. But I mean, like I said, I read these books when I was way younger. I am 3/4 of the way through Tarzan of the Apes, the first one. And dude, he is in a coastal town in Africa now wearing like a white suit because he's
Why?
adapted to the French English ways, dude. So he's just such a cool character. I can't recommend the books enough. If you've never read Edgar Rice Burroughs, Tarzan of the Apes is a great place to start. It starts out with a super tense survival scenario. Basically, his father is a military soldier.
Yeah.
Military soldier's a little,
Done
yeah, big military guy. He's sent to Africa by the English government to figure out some stuff with African natives are getting promised that they can be part of this military group, and once they become part of it, they serve their terms, and then they immediately get turned into slaves. So he's going there to resolve that because it's out of control. Instead of getting there, there's a mutiny on the ship, and he and his wife, who is pregnant, get put off onto the shore because he saved one of the mutineers' lives. And now, dude, and that's what's cool. Tarzan's dad obviously had to have good genes for his son to be the ultimate stud of all time.
Yeah.
So he's a beast, and he has a brace of pistols. He's got a couple hunting rifles. They've got everything they need, and they have to just survive for the first 2 or 3 chapters of the book. And it is really well written. So it pulls you in with that, and then it goes to Tarzan being raised by apes. And that's what is so good about Burroughs. Even his science fiction stuff, everything he writes never really goes to a place where you're like, I don't believe this, because he's crafted the world so perfectly that you're like, oh yeah, dude, of course.
Yeah, this would definitely happen.
Yeah, of course this would happen. And then it goes off the rails from there. By 10 years old, Tarzan's supposed to be just as strong as a 30-year-old man at the top of peak physical conditioning. And I mean, dude,
Makes sense.
if I was swinging around on trees all day for 10 years, you probably would be that way. So
Right.
check out Tarzan. Awesome character.
I know. Yeah, I think the issue I have is that the stinking Disney movie is just so ingrained in my brain that it's all I can picture, and it's like, when you say he was in a white suit, dude, I'm picturing like that and like the characters being weird in Disney, and I'm like,
Right, he's got
what's going on
dreadlocks.
here? Yeah, I'm like, what's happening? And that's
Um,
definitely not how it is. You
well,
know?
I think Tarzan actually has more in appearance with Conan than he does
Mm,
with the Disney
the
Tarzan.
Disney one, yeah.
I do like the Disney Tarzan. I think that's a great movie.
I
It's
like
probably,
Clayton.
yeah, it's probably one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. Um, but it is far off. I mean, Clayton in the book is Tarzan's cousin, and he's also like a stud. He's like a badass dude. But
Right.
Tarzan is big enough and strong enough that he literally like picks Clayton up on his back and like runs around the trees to get places because that's
Beast.
how much of a monster he is. And that is not Tarzan in the animated movie could not pick up Clayton in the animated movie and run around with him at all. I feel like the whole dichotomy of those two characters is that Clayton's the bigger, like stronger guy, and Tarzan is
Forearms
kind
for
of.
days, that guy.
I know that dude is massive. Um, yeah, but I'll digress on Tarzan. I think if you can get past that, dude, maybe watch the Alexander
I
Skarsgård
know, yeah, I
Tarzan
need to.
first,
I
and
definitely need to
that'll.
get into Tarzan. I'm sure it's so sick, and I'm just being. It's like me with when you were just, Mission Impossible, and I was like, yeah, but Tom Cruise, I don't really want to watch that. But then, those are so sick, and I'm here pitching them on the podcast, talking about you got to watch them. But
Yeah.
I'll give them a shot. I'll stop
Well,
being stubborn.
I think it's because it is kind of crazy. It's like, dude, how are you gonna tell me that there's any way that an ape man could be
Ape
realistic
man.
and cool? Yeah, like, there's no chance, dude. That sounds so stupid, but it's not. You gotta believe me. I promise.
I trust you.
I'm.
You've definitely earned the trust here when it comes to recommendations for
I
me.
mean, and the sales of Edgar Rice Burroughs should
Yeah,
also
come
back
on.
that
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he's incredible.
Yeah, we don't
Another
need to
dude,
sell
Edgar Rice
Burroughs.
Burroughs, needs his own episode eventually.
He does.
'Cause
He
we're
does.
just loaded up on stuff to talk about, dude.
That's what I mean. This genre is the best, dude. And I'm always discovering new stuff too. Like, I told you this week, and I put it on my Instagram. My obsession has been Django. I love
Dude.
it, dude. I can't stop. I can't stop. And so it put me on like this path, this rabbit hole of Franco Nero movies, just like
Nice.
Italian westerns. So I'm watching one. I don't remember what it's called, and it's got a weird name, so I'm not even gonna try. But
Nice.
it's Django was so. It was just like the perfect western that I was in the mood for. Like it was just the absolute
Yeah.
perfect. Like 90 minutes, guy brings a coffin into town, and it's like, what is happening? Like it
Why does he
visually
got
looks
that?
so sick. Like yeah, it's all muddy, and yeah, he drags a coffin in, and like the bad guys have these like red masks. Everything just looks visually striking,
Oh, that's really cool.
and it was so action packed for a western that I was like, I need more of this immediately. So I went
That's
down
awesome.
like the Franco Nero rabbit hole. Watched like 5 minutes of the Netflix show they did in 2023 or whatever. I really couldn't do it, dude. It's
What
really, really bad.
what was it called? Was it
Django.
okay?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen the original Django. I've seen so many good and bad spaghetti westerns. I went on a kick probably like
Right.
7 or 8 years ago of watching them, and I saw a lot of Lee Van Cleef was in a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yul Brynner was in a couple. I think there was a character that both Yul Brynner and Lee Van Cleef played. Like it was the same character. The sequel was Lee Van Cleef, who's the bad guy from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Right.
So yeah, you can't go wrong with spaghetti westerns. They're
And
so
like
so much fun.
Like you said, the weirdness of them too, like of this character played by this guy and this guy. It's like, dude, Django has had one official sequel apparently, and it was in 1986, Django Strikes Again. But there are over 31 movies with Django in the title that had nothing to do with it, just because they were just Django this, Django that, Django does this,
That's
Django
nuts,
with the
dude.
gun, Django. And it's like none of those are official or real or with Franco Nero, but like it was a popular name that sold at the time. So
That's
they'd
crazy.
literally be like, if like Nate Colt blew up, they'd every other book or every other movie was just Nate strikes again, Nate gets up,
Yeah.
Nate fighting back. And it's
That
like,
would be nuts, dude.
what's going on?
That's so funny.
So it's so interesting that happened. And I think I don't have any, proof to back this up, but it feels very Quentin Tarantino of him to like he almost did that as like a part of that joke and like an
Yeah,
inside
dude.
joke of like, I'm also gonna be the 32nd Django movie. Like,
I know. That's
and I
so
love that
funny.
he puts the real Franco Nero in there. In
Yeah.
that scene with the
I
ball.
don't think I even knew that watching watching Django Unchained for the first time.
Me
I
neither.
was,
Yeah, I never saw the original until this week.
yeah, I gotta watch it.
So
Your
good.
pitch for it has been inspirational, dude. It looks so sick.
And dude, do you have Peacock?
Yeah.
Because it's on there, and the transfer is as bad as you'd want it to be, dude. There's like parts where
Nice.
it goes fully green, and you're like, whoa, what? And then it comes back in color and stuff.
Oh,
It's and
perfect.
the dubbing is. Have you seen Kung Pao?
Yeah, I think so.
The dubbing is like on Kung Pao level, dude. But not joking. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
That's
And
funny.
like the dub is so bad too, because it'll be like, Django looks up and he's just, and then the voice is all, don't, that's none of your business. It's like what we talked about with animes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just the
Dude,
over
that's
dramatic, just
incredible.
that's not your business, that's mine. And I'm
That's
just,
brutal.
whoa, this is amazing.
I can't stop watching.
It's so good.
That's cool.
Telling you guys, Django, check it out, 1966. That's
Yeah,
the one.
dude. That's very cool. What have you been reading?
Reading Lando and Oxbow incident. So I just, like I said, been in Western City over here, I guess.
Yeah, dude.
Because my friend Dom wanted to read Oxbow incident, and I was like, "We can buddy read it. I have that too." So we've been reading that.
Who is that by?
We talked about this earlier. I don't remember this guy's name when you asked about it. He's got like three.
Oh, yeah,
he's got
dude.
3 names that are long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot
don't
about that.
remember.
Oh.
But yeah, it's that guy.
Yeah, it's like
And
a
it's-
very lordship
Yeah,
type
it
of name.
sounds like very like old English. This guy's name, but it's like a more literary fiction driven Western, and it's a political allegory, and it's got like a message to it. It's not like your
Right.
typical
Shoot 'em
shoot 'em
up
up
Western.
Western. Yeah, no, not a chance. Like our mind's thinking. But yeah, it's more so character study or something like that. But it's good.
And that's
It's
why you.
just Lando's got to be on the side because
I know. That's what I was about to say. That's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
you need Lando.
you got to get Lando in there too.
What a phenomenal book Lando is.
Dude, and like I told you, and I'll tell you guys now watching, I told Nathaniel, I don't know what it was with my headspace at the time. The first time I read Lando, I was like, this is finally a bad Louis L'Amour book. I was like, what is this? This is garbage. And it's actually like one of the best Louis L'Amour books
Yeah,
ever.
for
Like,
sure.
It's got boxing and, I mean, it's going to sound like a pitch for fire and tall grass. It's got boxing and treasure hunting, but even more than fire and tall grass, it has races, like horse races. It's got
Yeah, dude.
a guy who makes knives and is like the tinkerer, and he's like the expert knife
Dude,
maker.
the
Dude,
Tinker is so sick.
it's such a
It also has like the classic character gets sent to prison for a couple years and has
chain
to
gang. It's
get
huge,
out.
you know?
Yeah, I know, it's so good.
That book rules. And it's a sequel to another absolutely phenomenal one, Man Called Noon. Have you read that one?
I think I have. All of these are Sackett books, right?
I think so, yeah. Because this is like Sackett number 5 or something.
Yeah, and I've read all of the Sacketts except for
Right,
one of
so
them, I
then you
think.
have
So I
read this one.
But this is the problem. When you start like listening to audiobooks just in a line, this is why I don't remember any of the Reacher books names. It's like, oh, it's Reacher book 5 maybe, and I
Yeah.
can't remember which story goes to which. But I do. A Man Called Noon is very familiar to me.
I always describe it as like the Bourne identity of the Wild West.
Oh,
It's the one where he like
wakes up.
fell out a window, wakes up realizing he was out of the window, and like people are coming for him, and he's like, "Wait, why are you guys chasing me? Like, who am I? Like, what is going on?
Hold on a minute. I'll run, but tell me who I am.
Yeah, what's going on here?"
That's weird. That actually doesn't sound like I've read that one, which is
Really?
crazy.
Dang, yeah, it's a
I'll
good
have
one.
to. I'll have to read
Maybe
it.
is it not a Sackett book? And is
I think
Lando
it is.
not a sequel to it? Am I making everything up?
No, I think you're right. I think it. But
Factually
is
inaccurate.
Lando in it?
If he is, he's like barely in it. I don't remember him being in it at
'Cause
all. I
that's-
think they just mention it in Lando. He's like, that was
Yeah.
my dad, and he got caught up in that stuff, but I'm here now. And it's like, all right, Louis, I see what you did. I don't think he had a son.
That's what I loved. You and I were talking about Sackett's. I think also because of Legends of the Fall. and you were like, "What's your favorite Sackett book?" And I said, "I think it's Lando." And you're like, or maybe I said,
You said Galloway.
yeah, I said it's
Because I was
Galloway.
reading Galloway at the time, and I was like, that's not Galloway.
And then I described Lando, and you're like, "I think that's Lando." And I was like, "Yeah, that's a." And to that point, dude, every cover of Lando is a badass cover. It's so sick. And what I love about Louis L'Amour, and specifically this book is a prime example of it, is Lando already started out like a pinnacle of physical strength,
Right.
and then Louis was like, "How do I get him to get even stronger?" And he's like, "Send him to the chain gang, dude. Send him to just break rocks with a sledgehammer for a year or two." And he does that, and he gains like, I think he went. I feel like the book said he was like a strong 180 when he gets there, and then he puts on like 40 pounds of muscle or something
yeah.
like that, dude. Absolute machine.
That's where, like, if you see my cover version of it, he's definitely it's like post, the thing, because he's such a beefcake. Dude, I can't tell if this is a Sackett book. I'm not going to sit here on my phone any longer, but like this doesn't even look like it's a Sackett book. So
That's
maybe
weird.
maybe it's not a sequel like I thought it was. But either way, Man Called Noon is still going to be good, whether it is a sequel or not.
I'll look too. I'll see if I can figure this out.
Or do you think it was some kind of deceptive marketing? Maybe I'm still right, possibly, and they didn't want to put Sackett because he's supposed to be a mystery.
According to this thing that I just looked up, it says it's a part of Louis L'Amour's Lost Treasure series.
No, wrong. I refuse to be incorrect.
Louis L'Amour's Lost Treasure is a project created to release some of the author's more unconventional manuscripts from the family archives.
Yeah, but there was like a movie adaptation in the 50s of it, or something like that. It's
Weird.
I'm just gonna look up real quick. Is Lando a sequel to?
Speaking about Louis L'Amour movies, this is like going back a couple weeks because I finished listening to it. But dude, I listened to Tom Selleck's memoirs.
It's not a sequel.
Rip.
How is the memoir?
So good, dude. And he was really good friends with Louis L'Amour because they did a couple movies together. One of them was a Sackett movie, and then apparently you asked me if the other movie that had him and Sam Elliott in it.
Shadow Riders.
Yeah, you were like, isn't that a Sackett book? Apparently what happened was the Sackett series was still kind of like tied up with that previous movie. So Louis literally wrote the Shadow Riders book for Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott. And he was like,
Wow.
Forget about the Sacketts. I'll write 2 new brothers, and you guys can play those.
It's amazing, dude.
I know.
He's a
So
beast.
it's so cool. And then, and this is like, this episode is just becoming like, all right, well, we have more episodes we have to make because now we got to make one
Right.
about Tom Selleck too. But it's so cool to see like Tom Selleck, who has one of the most men's adventure fiction TV shows of all time in Magnum PI.
Magnum PI.
Also, his incredible adventure mind meeting one of the greatest authors of all time in Louis L'Amour. Dude, I wish I could have been like a fly on the wall during those conversations, man.
Imagine that. Just
I
imagine
know.
getting the transcripts printed out and like handed to you of the conversations they had. I would read that over morning coffee and a pipe every day.
That's so sick.
That's so good.
Yeah, because it's like, imagine talking westerns with those two dudes, man. It just would be unreal. And then talking about historical things, and Louis probably talked about how he did, how the West was won, how they pulled him in to write the novelization of that, and he was looking at the script, and he came over to him after he looked at it, and he was like, yeah, all of these things are historically inaccurate. You gotta fix it, like, and him telling those stories to Tom Selleck, and Tom Selleck be like, dude, that's so cool. It would have been sick to hear. And it's so sad. It's crazy. It's so sad that Louis L'Amour is dead, and we'll never get to meet him, dude.
I know.
Devastating.
That is devastating. They are not done making Louis L'Amour adaptations, though. Have you ever seen a movie called Crazy Rich Asians?
Yeah.
I know this is not a promising start here, but the writers of that.
You're telling me that's a Louis L'Amour book?
No, yeah, that is a Louis L'Amour. It's actually a sequel to Man Called Noon. No, they I botched that one, guys. I'm sorry, but they like the writer of it or the writers got the rights to, don't remember which book.
Oh, dude, that's
Riley's
so.
Luck maybe or something.
Oh, that would be
But
crazy. Riley's
they're
Luck's one of my favorites.
they're gonna do like that. They're gonna do it as a movie, and it's a Louis L'Amour
Dude,
book.
let's
So
go.
it but has the potential to be a big budget Louis L'Amour book that could be sick, like a big budget adaptation
Yeah.
of a Louis L'Amour book. But it's also from the people who did Crazy Rich Asians, so it's like hopefully not that.
Yeah. It's. I mean, that was a good movie, but
It was a good movie. It's just not the genre, obviously.
yeah, that's like.
But James Mangold, dude, I mean, he's already impressed us. He can do all the genres, so maybe someone like that. I mean,
yeah,
maybe they like
that's
that.
true.
Maybe they have that kind of talent.
I know. I'm not. I won't be skeptical. That sounds really interesting. It is also interesting too. That it's like, that's a big pivot from
Yeah,
crazy
Asians.
Rich Asians to a big budget western. But that would be so. That's super exciting. Thanks for filling me in on that. I had no idea about that. That's really
it's
cool
pretty,
news.
it's pretty cool. And I didn't learn from this guy, but I think he did end up talking about it. So, like, if you guys ever do need, like, Western news, that channel, Just Westerns,
Okay,
on
cool.
YouTube is really good at that. Like, I just learned from them, The Gunfighter with Gregory Peck is getting remade with Ethan Hawke.
Nice.
So that'll be sick.
That
It's a
will be
good one.
sick.
Sick mustache in that movie, dude. Unreal. Have you seen that mustache? Yeah.
No, dude.
Dude, Gregory Peck was like this thin little boy, like this little thin guy.
Oh yeah.
It's sick. And it's in black and white, so it's like a super black stash, and he's got like a super white face, and he's wearing a black jean jacket, and you know,
Hell yeah,
it's
dude.
perfect.
Dude, speaking of westerns and mustaches, should
Mhm.
we lay on them what we have coming up on?
Dude, yeah,
Yeah,
let's
dude.
do it.
4th of July. What's more American than a western? Veritas Entertainment is running their 3rd short film festival, and it is going to be for westerns. You don't want to miss this, man.
That means you can be a part of it.
Yes.
Don't miss it as in make your own. Make
Exactly
a Western,
right.
you know? That's the
Yeah.
coolest part.
Yeah, dude. To that point, we pitched it with only 11 days to go for you to make one last time for the noir detective
Yeah.
film, which turned out really well. It did end up only being 2 groups, but if you want to see
That was
Luke
so
and I
fun,
act, you can. We'll link it in the description. Really great stories. Precinct 409, absolute banger.
Thanks, man.
Story about a detective trying to solve this case, and things just keep going wrong. And you could pitch it better than that if you want to explain a little
dude,
better.
I feel like you don't even need to do that because yours blowed out of the water,
Nah,
and that's not just
dude.
me. That's not just me saying that because people are probably like, this guy always loves what Nathaniel does. Casey, the guy from Veritas and like my friend, was like, first thing he said was like, we lost hard. That was way better than ours. You know what I mean?
No
Like
chance.
that was the one. So you guys need to check out what Nathaniel did. And as Casey said in that video, you did that whilst having the new kid come in and like everything crazy. Dude, you had the craziest build up to this one. So I feel bad
Thanks,
for you.
man.
The stress must have been until 11, but you crushed it.
Yeah, well,
Partners
it
in
was
crime, dude.
it was certainly tough. It was really fun to make though, and actually filming it was super easy. It probably took like 6-ish hours over 2 days, so that was
Editing
nice.
must have got you, huh?
Yeah, the editing was brutal, dude. Luckily the submission date got pushed back a little bit, so that was very nice.
Yeah.
But that can be the encouragement to you guys. A western, that'll be a little tougher, but you can even do a western in a smaller setting. I mean, just think of like 5 minutes of 6 guys sitting around a poker table and somebody cheated and they're trying to figure it out, and that's the tension. Like, bounce it off of 4 or 5 different characters, dude. Heck, you could even play 2 of them, like just be on opposite sides of the table, get a different hat and a fake beard, and you're golden, and that's what this short film festival thing is so cool, because it really pushes you to be like, oh man, how am I gonna make this happen, dude? Making a western, incredibly challenging if you let yourself start thinking that way. Like, oh, I can't get a cowboy. I can't get a horse. I can't get the 6 shooters. I can't get the accurate props. Like, there's no chance I'm going to be able to do it. But then if you allow yourself to unlock that creative side of your mind, you can figure out a way to make it happen.
Right.
And to that point, for my final project for school, we had a class and you were supposed to partner up with some people and film. You wrote and then went to location and filmed a final project, which was a short film for class. And I was at a group of 3 dudes. We went to this place in New Jersey called Batstow Village. Great set. It's literally like an 1840s town that's just preserved in history in the city of a random city park in New Jersey. We were going to talk to them to get permits, figure it all out, and then freaking COVID hit, dude. Whole entire school got shut down. The teacher was like, "Oh, just make a random like video all by yourself about something that either loyalty or fear or anxiety or love." I was like, "No, dude, I'm making a Western still." So luckily I lived with my buddies, and we got 3 of us together. Me and the one guy went out, set up the tripod. We shot a cool dueling scene. I died, and I went over to full-time director mode, set up a whole entire like green felt table, had it set outside back, put just curtains up so that it looked like the smoky back room, and had a poker scene with a shootout at the end.
Beast.
And a nice little cigarette smoke. And it turned out really solid. I can link that below. I mean, it's not the greatest thing you're ever going to see because it was 3 dudes filming it during the height of COVID. But I mean, if you can unlock your mind to do stuff, dude, you can make some sick content. I'm not saying like I'm the best content creator of all time. Certainly not true. But I've got a lot of content that I made, good or bad. It's out there, and people are getting to see it. So don't let your dreams be dreams. to quote one of a true legend.
That's so true. I mean, that's what this is all about. It's like too many people have these ideas. Too many people were like, "Oh, I would like to act in a movie," or like, "I would like to write them." You can actually do it. You know, you can, and we're trying to give you that vehicle to like. Here's a reason. Here's like a vehicle, and we're trying to, you know, one little by little, like step these things up. And Casey, you know, right now is working behind the scenes on like what can the prize be, like how much money can we put behind it, and like hopefully that raises and like people, more people, and like this will only become bigger and better, but it all is built off the back of people taking a risk and trying, and we all are, you know, like we already talked about. Nathaniel had the kid coming and all these other life circumstances that totally want to tell you can't do this. This is like not feasible. You know, be mature. What you make it a short film for? Like, there's all these reasons in your head that you could just not do it. But you push forward and you have this legacy, not legacy so much, but like this adventure to live, and like it's a worthwhile endeavor to do this for yourself, and like to have that adventure for you is such a cool thing to have. Like I think I told you this, Nathaniel. Like, I'm getting more excited about acting and stuff like that. I never considered myself an actor. It was hard, and I don't think I'm very good at it. But now I'm like interested to get good at it. I was like, I want to do more. I want to figure out how to do it because this is fun, and I like this, and I want to do more of it. After like Precinct 409, and so this Western, we all want to get better. We all are trying to like improve. So Casey already was on the phone with me today and was like, you know, talking about how. Can I send him the outline, because he wants to start building the shot list so that we have more time, because we realized every problem we had with 409 was like it was a time thing. Like, if we would have had more time, we would have been able to solve some of these things. So we're trying to, like, it's all the way in July that this thing comes out, but I've written the outline with Dom, who is in a scene of 409, and we're going to turn that into the screenplay by Wednesday, and then Casey's going to turn that into a shot list. So we're going to try to have way more time ahead of us. So we'll see. Yeah. But I'm excited for that. So, yeah, if you guys want to join this, make a Western and get a part of this. Once the official announcement comes out, you'll see all about it and how to get into that. So, yeah, this is even a pre-announcement, so you've got time. It's all the way until July. So, this is good.
It's going to be fun. And to encourage you guys, like, maybe you're like, oh, I want to do that. That would be cool, but I don't know if I can. Like, it'll probably be bad. And even if it's terrible, like, you'll still have 1 or 2 cool shots that are going to go right into the dad lore, dude. There's so many things, like so many of the little videos that I make for Instagram, or even like the intro shots from this podcast. Like, dude, if my son sees that when he's like 6 years old, if I ever get a son, dude, he's going to be like, dude, who's this man? Like, that's my dad. That's sick. Like, look, like Grayson seeing you with all your boxing stuff, dude, or pulling out the gun and going through the door like you did in Precinct 409, dude. That's gonna be incredible, man. I
The
love
dad
it.
lore.
Yeah, dude, the dad lore. So do it for the dad lore. Also encourage you to like I said, if you think about it, 6 hours. That's how long it took for me to do a whole 7-minute short film. Just filming it. Editing took a little longer, which it is what it is. But that's just 6 hours hanging out with the boys, right? So if you're like, oh, I don't have 6 hours of time, it's like, okay, well, next time you go golfing with the friends, be like, hey, fellas, let's do something else instead. Or next time you're going to go play a night of D&D or something, or whatever it is you do in your free time. I'm sure you have at least 2 hours a week. It just takes 3 weeks. Those 2 hours you get, film this thing, make it happen. It'll be fun. Right. You'll finish it, and you'll be like, man, that was good. I feel like I did something I never did before. And like Luke said, maybe you're like, oh, I'm a terrible actor. And then you start doing it, and you're like, dude, maybe I'm not as bad as I was worried I was, and now I want to get really good. And I think that's what it's all about.
I agree. There's something huge in that, like of doing it, and then as you said, there might be one shot you like, and you're like, dude, that was sick. I need more of that. Yeah. And then like you just kind of slowly build up. It's with everything too. You could write, and you're like, man, this. You look back at it. Like I look back at Frozen Wrath, I'm like, it's not really what I want it to be. But there's like characters or like scenes, and I'm like, that's sick. And then you kind of build, and you like want to do that more. And then I wrote Fire in the Tall Grass, and I have that out, and it's like, oh, awesome. And then I'm like, what can I do in the next Noah Redford adventure that makes it better? Like I love being on the constant journey to like just improve and be better, and and push yourself and strive. And it helps life just feel way more exciting and meaningful and purpose driven. And I mean, Nathaniel knows what's going on in my personal life right now. Like I have so much stress coming at me right now that could break my spirit, but this stuff is so within my control and like such a fun journey that I'm in a much better place because of having this. If I didn't have this, I'd be like, kind of distraught and be like, all, my whole life's falling apart, but it's not,
Dude.
It's just sick.
Yeah, well said. Well,
this was fun. This was a fun, unstructured episode. I hope you guys had fun, and even though I absolutely lied to you about Lando being a sequel to Man Called Noon, just believe me, they're both good books at least. I'm sorry.
I believe you. Dude, I believed you about the sequel.
I know, I definitely believe myself too. I've been telling everybody that for years, so I gotta make an apology.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. This was a great episode. It's fun to do something a little different. You got 5 or 6 different topics to think about, and promising stuff. We will get back to you guys about Spencer Dutton, dude. His return. Yeah, man. For us, I think it's 2 nights away, and we'll see the return of the king, man. It's very exciting.
The based.
Yeah, gonna be some cool stuff. Maybe there'll be a podcast episode coming out just about the big reveal. We'll see. But yeah, for end segment, I got nothing.
The end segment should be you guys tell us, what have you been watching men's adventure fiction wise? What have you been reading men's adventure fiction wise? Because that's what this episode was so unstructured. We were just kind of talking about what's been on our mind. For those of you in the Discord, I know we talk, day to day, but like kind of what is it today? What's on the docket? You know what I mean? You watching this episode?
Yeah.
Are you gonna go find a Tarzan book? Or are you watching a movie that I should know about? Like, what's going on? What men's adventure fiction content is on the docket today?
Right.
That's the end segment, I feel like.
That's well said, dude. That's the end segment we need. And you can do that in the comments, or once again, another pitch for the Discord. Jump in the Discord. Let us know what you're doing. Let us know what you're reading. We've been having a really good time doing some live chats on there.
Yeah, live chat's been going crazy. I was on one today on the way home from work.
Nice, dude. Yeah, a couple days ago we had like 12 people in at one time.
Yeah, dude. That was so fun,
dude. Very fun.
That's the most I've ever been a part of, dude. 12
I know.
That was cool.
We were talking about the difference between the action genre and the adventure genre and the overlap, at least for a little while. Then we talked about a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, if you want the men's adventure fiction podcast experience of talking like this, just shooting the breeze about random stuff, the Discord is the place for it. Yeah. If you like what we talk about, then you're going to love the Discord, because there's like 80 some people in there now. So you're going to multiply this podcast by 80 times.
80 different hosts that could pop into that chat at any time that you're hopping into.
Dude.
And you're just, hey, men's adventure fiction.
I know,
right?
man. And it's fun. And the people are all over the world in there. I mean, we got a great dude from Ireland in there, so he's on a totally different time frame than us. People work nights, people work days, people work all over the place. So if you're like just want to hang out in the chat and it's 3:59 a.m., jump in there, dude. Someone will hop on most likely, or it's 8 a.m. Jump on there. You know, you never know. So don't hesitate to join the Discord. Like we've talked about this a couple times, the link is not working. Link may not be working in there. I had a bunch of people reach out and say it wasn't working. And then I went through, this may be the second time I told this story. I was going through every YouTube episode, dude, changing that link. And it was about episode 15 that I realized the link I was repasting was the exact same link that was in there already. So I think it's a problem with YouTube because people message me through Instagram or they email us at mensadventurefictionpodcast@gmail.com. They're like, hey man, the link's not working. I send them this. I literally copy the link from YouTube and send it to them. And they're like, sick, I'm in. So maybe what you should do if it's not working in the YouTube link, select it with your phone. Select it with your cursor, post it in like Gmail. And then click it there, send it to yourself. Maybe that'll populate it. But also, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'll get it to you. You can DM either one of us, message us on the email, whatever you need. Just leave a comment. Even.
We want you in there, so make sure to find a way in. It's a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time.
This was a good time. So thank you guys for joining us, and thank you, Nathaniel, for being a great host.
No, man. Thank you for being a great host. I realize you're always thanking me at the end of the podcast episode. I was like, thanks, dude. But no, you need to be thanked too. You're a beast. Thanks for I thank you for this over text or over the phone. Thanks for having such a badass Instagram that we're sitting here right now. Because otherwise, we'd be cut. None of this would have ever happened. So, there's a plug. Follow this guy on Instagram. Read Fire in the Tall Grass. It's gonna be a blast.
All right, guys. Take care.
Take care.